of us has a reason for why we do things. This is the key point you have to keep in mind. Some of you are doing it because of fame. Some of you are doing it because of power. Let's take a couple of little I'm going to be sarcastic a little bit. Take a beautiful girl in the team of Translated who every morning spends like 30, 40 minutes in front of the mirror to make herself like super looking before she comes to work. Now she can't do that because no one is looking at her. How depressing is that, you know? Imagine. So that's a joke, but I'm saying some people are driven by that type of thing. Some people are, it's called eros. You know, you want to look good and you want that people realize that you're there and you're a shining star. So there are so many different individual drivers for each of us. Why do we do things what we do? And those things aren't changing just because Corona has changed the infrastructure. It might only change the effect they have on us. So those of you, for example, whose driver is family, they are in heaven right now. They were always actually bleeding for that they love to spend their time with their family. They love to give and take. They love to protect their family. And now they have the chance to spend lots of time with them and dedicate their time with that. Beautiful. Some others are driven by social contact. And that social contact means they don't need to be the boss and don't need to be in the middle of the circle, but they want to be with others. The interaction with others give them all they need. And therefore not sitting alone at home, it's just burning their head off. So the first question you ask yourself, if you want to know how you motivate yourself or motivate others, is asking yourself, what drives me? What put my car on track? What pushes me to do things I do? Where is that coming from, that background? What is it? Once you know that, then you actually know how to deal with it, how to support it, how to encourage it, and so on and so forth. One thing I said last time we spoke, as I said, this could be like kind of a key for you to maybe calm everything down and neutralize everything, is admitting that there is no other solution but what it is now. It is as it is. Starting to realize that the situation you're in is not unique to you, and it's much broader and it's affecting everyone around you. And that no matter how happy, sad, enraged you are against it and with it, it doesn't change in the elementary of the subject matter. It has it as it is. It remains as it is. This would actually make you to look at it much more comfortably. You know, it doesn't change if I shout. If it helps you to shout because you get your anger out, so yes, go under the shower and do a ah. Doesn't matter if that really helps you. Please, it helps some of the people I know. So, but it doesn't change at the core of the subject. So that is the one thing. Don't focus too much on this question of how can I motivate myself to deal with this situation. Make yourself aware of this situation. Know that it's going to be over. It is going to be over. Name me one crisis on this planet since the history is telling us. Call me one crisis which never ended. They all ended. And call me one situation in our lives where the time after a crisis wasn't better. Name me one. So it's gonna be over and it's gonna be better. Bob Marley, everything gonna be all right. Play that song. It is a truth in it. He smoked lots of ganja, but he was speaking the truth, you know? So it is going to be all right. Remember that. So your focus in terms of motivation will go away from how do I manage to go through this hard time right now? And it becomes a lot more on So what do I do as soon as it is over and the better time starts? What is my contribution to that better time? Put yourself the question of appreciation. This is the perfect time for you. If you want to do a work and life balance, this is the time. Not in terms of now I have lots of time with my family and boyfriend and girlfriend and husband and wife, because that you cannot avoid. This is to the category of shit, I cannot avoid it, you know. But it's about work and life balance in terms of yourself, in terms of when else is the best time for you to sit at whatever time of the day or evening and start making a bucket list. This is your time for the bucket list. Things I always wanted to do and I never took time for it. Now that you have the time sitting at home and no one is watching over your shoulder, no one is telling you, oh, look, why are you making 3 hours break over there? You're doing your job. As long as your remote boss is not coming and saying, hey, you didn't do your job, you're delivering on your pace. So take your time, design it the way you like. Working pajamas, woohoo, you know, beautiful. You have that freedom of, you have a choice. You can design, and you can carve little pieces for yourself, only for yourself. Let me bridge this from motivation to focus. The interesting part is this. Usually, if I know I'm like kind of totally the coach and want to help someone to, you know, focus much better, what I usually tell them is chunk your work in small pieces and have lots of little regeneration and regenerative slots in it, you know, little energizers. You never work like for, I don't know, 2 hours. You need 45 minutes, after 45 minutes to stand up, even if it's like, for a few minutes and shake yourself off, you know, all of that type of things you regularly do anyway. And it's like, if I now have the time to, in fact, what I do, for example, is I have created lots of different papers on my table. Maybe it's not good for those of you who are like very focused on having order in their lives, because it looks like a little bit shitty. But I even take, you know, here, you don't believe, but I take envelopes and start putting there. So this envelope is there. I have even used my tea being on it, so it's a little bit dirty here, like, you know, the teapot, but it's very authentic, and it's for certain type of ideas who come in my mind. Video-centric courses is written on it, for example. Benchmark of all providers, making sense. I cannot tell you the secrets, of course. So, but you know, yeah, there are a couple of things on it. And then it's funny because on the other side, I have totally different category of things, all about gaming. I literally have the other side about gaming. And I have 3 or 4 of them. I have 2 books open and 1 or 2 papers. One is farther away, and the one which is needed is close to me. What do I do with that? When I work 1 hour or so, then I stop, go get myself my next cup of tea, and start thinking, digesting. You know, work needs digestion. When we do the motoric job, like long hours, you start feeding yourself with lots of input which goes in. If you don't process it through your head and not spit it out, you become very mechanical. So your job becomes really like a boring mechanical, you know, accountant jobs. Next paper, next paper, next paper, next paper. You don't want to do that. You have a brain. You're a human being. You have soul. So you want to even you have a boring motoric work, you would still use it to inspire your own brain to do something else. So make your bucket list and start thinking, what did I miss during these times? What am I missing during these 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks? Once you do that list, go random. With the list, go random. Then start being picky. Ask yourself, what out of that list, what you miss, it's really worth it. I haven't been driving my car right now. I don't miss it, to be honest with you. And in fact, I have fun
Ice
when I
cream.
look out from the window. Sorry?
I miss ice cream.
You see, no, okay, so you miss ice cream. Perfect. Now, you make a list.
Mandatory.
And you know, the point is this, Isa, what I do is like when I make my list and I realize and I go through them, I ask myself, which of those activities I'm missing can I continue not doing even if the corona crisis is over? And that is a perfect filter for me right now because I'm realizing one of the things I have done was actually just because I'm doing it because the society and my environment was hacking it on my shoulder as something we all do without really thinking about it. And we were trimmed, and which of them I really like. So I still fucking love my ice cream. So I will do that after that. So, you know, but maybe that other stuff, maybe one of them is not. One of the friends I have, for example, he was telling me, before crisis came, I was going out playing football twice a week. Now I'm not doing it. And I started to kind of do another physical activity so that I keep fit at home. But I'm starting to realize I don't miss the football anymore. Meaning he already knows, shit, I'm now, after this time is over, I have 2.5 hours every Wednesday afternoon, which I would have used on that playing football. And I don't need every Saturday lunchtime to go for a game. And so my girlfriend is not going to whinge, oh, you're never there during the weekends, and all of the other things around it. So to cut that short, what I'm trying to say is, so one of the ways I keep my momentum going is that I'm starting to use the times, which on one hand, I have to focus on my work. I want to be effective. So for that effectiveness, I'm cutting my work slots into little pieces and trying to have short energizers of my own time in between. And those I use to recapitulate my own life and look back and see what was happening and what is good and what's not. I do self-analysis. I read a book. I do music. I sort out my stuff. So I improve the quality of my own life. I'm grateful I was given the time to improve the quality of my life. And I'm trying to balance out and create a list of real priorities and real importances of my life. That's just an example. You can do with that, spare time you create, whatever. So if you are knitting, start knitting those pullovers. I don't know, or do some carpentry. The other thing I did, for example, which is great, but I have to actually, I'm grateful for my wife who does the real job. So I have this cellar, and I always knew not everything in that cellar is rubbish, and but not everything in there is what I need on a daily basis. So every now and again, I go there for an hour, check through, and I find one or two things. I undust them, put it on the table, and say to my wife, sell it. And one day later, it's sold. So I'm actually having a daily cash coming in. Today, it was like 55 euros. Yeah. So, and I started to do all of that from the moment where I told to myself, look, this time is there. You need to cope with the time. You can't do anything else. So make the best out of it. It's almost like you're sitting in a bus and no matter what you do, there is this 12 hours drive to the next skiing resort. And if you can be your child and say like, when do we arrive? Did we arrive yet? I'm tired. You can do that the entire way. And so it's like a really messy trip. Or you just can start having your headphones on and sing Bob Marley until the trip is over. So I'm right now in my head singing Bob Marley every day. This is that issue of motivation. Then, okay, we have like 7 minutes left. I'm sticking to Silvio, yes, so that everyone knows. Maybe you like it this way and you say nothing, but it's okay. So I'm sticking with Silvio's brief. I love you for that, Silvio. So, last things I would give you.
Actually, it was voted on.
Yeah, it's all good.
It was the most interesting topic.
Yes. It's nice. It's good. I'm trying. You're actually making me train myself to be concise, or at least be limited. Concise is impossible for me. But yeah. So what I was going to tell you in the focus, and that might be sounding silly. Now that you have time at home and you have the say you're tasked with it. You have no other choice. You have to design your daily work yourself. Do me a favor and do the most difficult tasks of your day first.
Eat the frog.
Frog? Eat the frog. Yes, thank you. You see, that's obvious to everyone. Again, as I said, I'm now totally putting this hat on to say, do this, don't do that. So do the planning of every day the night before while drinking a glass of wine or your tea, whatever. But do the planning the night before. So ask yourselves, what am I doing tomorrow? This is the last thing you want to do tonight. Really, everything is done. You're chilled. You're just about to go and brush your teeth. You can do that while you're brushing your teeth. Just think about it if you don't want to write it, if you're not a writer. But plan the day the night before. And pick the most difficult one and the complex one first. Because the reality is that let's say, how do I say that? I believe you cannot focus more than 4 to maximum 6 hours anyway. So from the moment you wake up, by 1 o'clock, your energy is gone. You're done. Your day is actually over. You should do the work in a way so cleverly that's why the new work concept makes people come and say, like in North Europe, they don't do 8 hours anymore. Like 4 hours, absolutely sufficient. If you do that 4 hours effectively enough and efficient enough, you do the work of 8 hours anyway. Because that 8 hours work is the second part of it is you're just like dragging yourself through the day because you have an 8 hours contract. So try to challenge yourself when you do those daily planning. Try to challenge yourself like those sportmen who try to beat their own time. For those of you who have more or less a repetitive daily job, try to see if you can save every day a tiny bit of time to prove to yourself that you can do it shorter if you do it efficient. Because if I'm your boss and you're still delivering the same quality, what does it matter to me if you do it in 8, 10, or 6 hours? If I don't know it and start like using the rest of the time you give me and I make 150% out of you. But beside that, why not, I think it's really manageable. It's like you going like, okay, I do sit-ups or push-ups every day. And I did that. I wrote that for me, just like Among Us. I wrote that for me beginning of March. I said like, now every day at home, I do push-ups. And I remember as I was young, I was doing like, I don't know, 30 to 50. So I went down and I did 4 and I collapsed on the floor. And I thought like, shit, what is happening? And my ego was so touched that 1 hour later, I pushed myself to do at least 10. And then I started to write a diary to do it every day. And I'm so happy if I manage every day to do at least 1 more. And that's a big help. But it shows like you can do that. So you can train yourself on that. It's like when you run and you do it in a shorter time. And it's like everything else. And it's not a magic. You cannot be proud of yourself. I give you a last story and then I say goodbye to you. There was this king and this beautiful maid, very young, super beautiful. And the king was in love with her. And even though she was just a maid, he wanted to marry her and make her become the queen. So the king takes the maid to a hunting trip. And then there is this, I don't know whatever animal he wants to shoot. And the king says, hey, what if with 1 shot of an arrow, I connect the back leg of this animal to his ear? Oh my God, so show me. So the king takes a little piece of a stone and throw into the ear of the animal. And the moment it does this, patch, he nails them. So what do you think? He says. And she says, well, it was nice, but anyone who can train that can do that. So the king, like, what the fuck? Get really upset and throw her out of the village and the city. She, the younger, goes and starts working for a farmer who is outside having a very little cuddle, like little baby cow. She starts taking this baby cow in the hand and go up the little hill where at the top the grass is juicier, and feed the cow and then take it back. And she does that every day. 10 years later, she's taking a massive cow, so to speak, the same little baby cow, this massive cow on her shoulder, going up and have their feeding there. Cake is riding the horse one day, coming and see this beautiful woman, meanwhile, not later, not the little girl anymore, like this beautiful woman, looking so super sexy, but carrying this giant cow on the shoulder. And says like, oh my God, like, how can you do that? And the girl says, well, it's not actually a big deal. I'm doing it every day. So I didn't even feel when I started to wear the weight. And the king says, oh yeah, of course, that's the girl, because that was the same message. And then, oh, happy ending, of course, and they married. So having said that, we don't need to get proud of the stuff we do every day and get good at it. It's normal. It's absolutely normal to get good at those stuff. But even knowing the fact that if we do that every day, we will automatically and inevitably get better at it, it's motivation enough to go for it, because others from outside will look and say like, my God, how do you do it? And for you, it's an easy job to be done. So everything you're doing every day, start to improve a tiny bit, and you get better and better and better at it. And it helps you. You save lots of things: stress, energy, time, whatever. And everything you earn and save, give it as a gift to yourself. You deserved it. Give yourself that time. Spend it on yourself. Do something for yourself. Make sure from today until this crisis is over, you're only asking the question about what about the time after it's over? What is my bucket list? Start with your ice cream, so to speak, and make your list grow and see where you get. And when the list is so long, start getting rid of the junk in it, and you have improved your life afterwards because you have no more junk on your daily life. You're more aware, you're doing things you like, and you have created an appreciation for the life waiting for you when the bad times are over and the good times are coming. With that, I can say good night.
Thank you, Jam. That
You're
was
most
really
welcome.
inspiring.
It was agreed that we do only 30 minutes and not more. Okay, so if you one day say we want to do more, I do more, no problem. But as long as we go with this rule, we stick to the half an hour.
Skills.
Okay.
What
Love
about
you, everyone. I really, really miss you every time. So my bucket list says fly to Rome as soon as I can fly. So that for sure. That's a promise.
We'll be waiting for you. Thank
You
you.
too.
Bye.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you,
Enjoy
Jam.
your
You
day.
too.
Be
Bye
good.
bye.
Jamshid, bye
Bye.
bye.
Jane.
Thank you.
Bye, Jam.
Bye.